By the time I walked towards that elevator, I already knew I was making another terrible life decision. The metal doors looked ancient, scratched, rust stains everywhere, and inside, a dim red emergency light glowed weakly, like the building itself was warning me to leave. The viewer count was 800,000. 800,000 people. At that point, my anxiety stopped feeling personal. It became public entertainment. I stared into the elevator for a long moment before whispering, "This is exactly how people disappear." And the worst part, nobody in the chat disagreed. Still, I stepped inside anyways, because apparently survival instincts and I are no longer on speaking terms. This elevator floor cracked beneath my shoes immediately. The inside smelled old and damp, like floods, concrete, and rust. The walls were scratched up badly too, not normal scratches either, deep scratches, like somebody had panicked in there before, which was not comforting information. I slowly pointed my flashlight towards the elevator buttons and immediately regretted it. Every floor number had been scratched out, every single one, except one glowing button near the bottom, B7. That was it. No other options, no explanations, just B7. I stared at the button nervously while chats completely lost their mind because yes, even strangers online understood this looked like the beginning of a horror movie. Eventually, I sighed and pressed it slowly, and immediately the elevator dropped downwards violently, not smoothly, violently. The lights flickered rapidly while the entire elevator groaned like it hated being alive. The shaft exploded instantly. Nope, bro entered a horror game. Meanwhile, I grabbed the wall, trying not to fall face first into the floor. If this elevator kills me, I'm haunting everybody watching. And honestly, I meant it. The elevator just kept descending deeper and deeper. At some point, the city sounds completely disappeared. No traffic, no wind, nothing. Only loud mechanic groaning around me. It felt wrong, like I wasn't under the city anymore, like I was descending into somewhere hidden on purpose. And then ding! The door slowly opened, and beyond them was a dark underground highway stretching farther into darkness. Cold white lights flickering overhead. Rows of old server lined the walls beside hanging wires and exposed cables. The entire place looked secretly alive, not abandoned, hidden. I stepped out carefully while my flashlight shook slightly in my hand, and immediately the cold hit me. Not normal underground cold either, sharp cold, artificial cold, the kind used to keep machineries running. And that's when I noticed the cameras, dozens of them mounted across the ceilings, every direction covered, watching everything. I slowly looked from one camera to another while my stomach started feeling uncomfortable. Okay, that's creepy. And somehow, my viewer count hit 1 million. 1 million people watching me descend into what looked like a secret underground surveillance bunker. The chart moved so fast it barely looked readable anymore. He found something huge. Bro is insane. Honestly, both statements were accurate. I kept walking deeper into the facility while several fans hummed loudly around me. The place felt active, maintained. Somebody had been here recently. And when I entered the main control room and immediately stopped breathing for like 3 full seconds. The room was massive, entire walls covered in monitors, live footage everywhere, roads, train, buildings, the entire city was being watched. I slowly toured in circles, trying to process what I was seeing while the blue monitor light reflected my face. Who built all of this? No answer, just the sound of machineries humming around me. Then, suddenly, one monitor switched, then another, until every screen in the room displayed the same thing: me, my live stream, thousands of versions of me staring back from every wall. I froze instantly. The live stream audio echoed throughout hidden speakers around the room, creating this horrible delayed effect, like the entire facility itself was watching me. Then, a distorted voice suddenly spoke from somewhere above. You're finally here. I nearly dropped my phone directly on the floor. Nope, absolutely not. No, thank you. Conversation cancelled. But the voice calmly continued. People enjoy watching danger. The chat exploded immediately. Who said that? This isn't script, right? And honestly, I wish it was script. At least then somebody would know what was happening. Meanwhile, I slowly backed away, trying not to panic visibly. Okay, listen, whoever you are, I pointed nervously around the room. You are being extremely weird right now. The monitors suddenly started changing rapidly, different clips across the streams. Fires, explosions, accidents, disasters, all secretly recorded. And then I realized something that made my stomach drop. You've been recording disasters? The distorted voice answered calmly. People always was. And that sentence genuinely unsettled me because deep down it was true. Millions of people online watch disasters every day, accidents, chaos, fear, and somehow I accidentally became part of it. Then suddenly, bang, a loud crash echoed from somewhere upstairs. Faint police sirens came audio from above us. I looked up instantly, and seconds later, Officer Radis burst into the hallway with armed policers off behind him, flashlights everywhere. And the second Radis saw me standing there on the ground again, his entire face collapsed emotionally. Why are you always on the ground? I pointed wildly towards the monitors. I can explain some of this. Honestly, not much, but some. Police officers immediately spread across the room, checking equipment and disconnecting savers. Everybody moved fast, tensed, focused, and naturally, everything got worse because, of course, it did. The facility lights suddenly flashed bright red. An alarm activated across the entire underground complex. The distorted voice spoke again, calmly through the speakers. Unauthorized access detected. And then, immediately, the entire facility started shaking violently. Dogs fell from the ceiling, pipes burst nearby, spraying water across the floor. The walls groaned loudly around us, and at that exact moment, I officially accepted that my life had become an action movie against my own will. I stared around horrified. Why does everything explode around me? Before I could panic longer, Radis grabbed the back of my hoodie aggressively. Move! And then suddenly everybody started running. Emergency lights flashing everywhere, sirens deafening, smoke pouring from vents. The underground hallway looked like complete chaos. The floor cracked behind us while sparks exploded from broken wires. Somewhere deeper inside the facility, servers started exploding one after another. The sound echoed through the entire underground like thunder. At one point, I nearly slipped while running because the floor was covered in water and debris. Before I could fall, Radis grabbed my arm and yanked me upright. If you die, paperwork will kill me. I stared at him while running for my life. That's your concern right now? Apparently, yes, because Radis is powered entirely by stress and administrative suffering. We finally reached the elevator again, except now it was dead. Smoke pouring out, lights gone, completely useless. One officer forced open an emergency staircase nearby and everybody rushed upward. And when mean upward, I mean upwards. Those stairs felt endless. I was dying, actually dying. My lungs gave up halfway. My viewer count became 2.4 million. Meanwhile, the chat was moving so fast I could barely process anything. This is insane. He's actually going to die. Honestly, reasonable assumptions. Then, part of the staircase collapsed behind us with that massive crashing sound that echoed underground. I screamed and started climbing faster immediately. Fear is excellent motivative. Finally, we burst out of the industrial building into the cold night air, and for one beautiful second, everything went quiet. Then the explosion happened. A massive underground blast erupted behind the building behind us. Windows shattered upward. Orange light filled the night sky. The ground beneath my feet shook and I immediately collapsed into the paveway, breathing like I just fought for my life, which technically I had. And somehow, my phone was still live streaming. My viewer count was 3 million. 3 million. At that point, I wasn't even shocked anymore. I just accepted the internet as a terrifying force beyond human understanding. Nearby, Radish collapsed against a police car, completely exhausted, covered in dust, clothes ruined, and somehow he had his coffee in his hands. I still don't know how. There was this long silence between us while emergency vehicles surrounded the building and people shouted in the distance. Then, Radish slowly turned towards me and, with the tiredness of a man abandoned by happiness itself, he said, "I'm begging you." Then weakly pointed at me. "Please, get a normal hobby." Stayed lying on the ground, staring at the sky. I tried gaming, nobody watched. And then something historical happened. Radis laughed, not a big laugh, not dramatic, just one accidental laugh escaping before he immediately stopped himself. But I saw it. Immediately, I pointed dramatically at him. "You laughed." Radis instinctively turned to serious mode. "No, I didn't." That man lies professionally. A few days later, everything finally calmed down. No alarms, no explosions, no secret underground facility. I was back inside my dorm room again, but this time things were going different. My rent was completely and fully paid for the year, and I had actually groceries, real groceries, not just noodles and emotional damage. The room was cleaner too. Life finally felt stable, peaceful. I sat quietly at my desk, staring at my live stream app. My live stream account now had more money in it than I have ever seen. And for the first time in weeks, I felt tired, really tired, not physically, mentally. So I hovered my fingers above the delete button, long silence, then I pressed it. And then the app appeared, but not after I took the money out. And then immediately I felt deeply into my chair, feeling very relaxed. Finally, no more disasters, no more underground nightmares, no more becoming internet content celebrity against my will. I laid back peacefully on my bed while soft rain hit this window outside again. Quiet room, calm atmosphere, perfect ending for me. Then my phone vibrated beside me and I slowly picked it up and felt my soul leave my body. The live stream app was back, installed again somehow. I slowly sat upright staring at the screen. Then a notification appeared. "Ready for your next stream?" I stared at it silently for a very long moment, then slowly threw the phone into the bed like it personally offended me. Absolutely not. The phone vibrated again immediately. The screen glowed brighter in the dark room. Another notification appeared. "Your viewers are waiting." And honestly, that moment scared me more than the explosions because part of me, a very, very small, terrible part of me, was tempted. I stared at the vibrating phone, feeling half terrified, half exhausted, and half curious, which mathematically makes no sense, but emotionally felt accurate. Outside my dorm window, the rain continued quietly over the city, and somewhere far away, faint police sirens echoed throughout the night again. Then the phone screen slowly brightened in the darkness beside me, and I watched the viewer count symbol begin rising by itself, one number at a time, waiting, watching. The room slowly faded into darkness, and that should have been the end, but somehow I knew it wasn't.